Good morning, everyone. Monday, November 11, 2013. Casa de Rosie, Rancho de Rosie, Santa Rosa, USA. Yes, I'm tired, I'm dressed. I'm here. It's one of 2 days a year that I really believe that I owe a debt of thanks to those living and those dead. And today is the day that we recognize the veterans that served in the military, and Memorial Day in late May being the day we recognize those that gave the ultimate measure of devotion in their lives to the cause of service to the country. My family has a really distinguished military history. And on the Rosie Murphy channel this morning, I'm going to be discussing the roots of Veterans Day, Remembrance Day overseas, and how it was born of the horrors of World War I. The horrors that we still live with today, and in my opinion, having been a student of history and a member of a National History Honor Society with particular emphasis on studying the events of World War I, the Armenian genocide, and so other things, how the roots of that war led to so many problems that we still deal with to this day. So you want to check out the Rosie Murphy channel and check out that vlog about that. But today is a day I reach out with heartfelt thanks on this day. It's a day that many of us wear red, like in the UK they wear red poppies to signify the blood of the dead that they saw on the fields in Belgium at Flanders Fields. And a lot of these terrible battlefields in France and in Belgium, they would be covered with scarlet blooming poppies. And certain times of the year, it would remind people of the blood that was shed on those battlefields, those horrific battlefields of World War I, where so many lives were ground up and lost in the terrors of battle and in trench warfare during those terrible years from 1914 to November of 1918. My family had a really kind of distinguished military history, but I want to start out by saluting my friends that I know and I talk with day in, day out, my love interest, for their service. Missy Jenn, my girlfriend, my love. You know, she never talks about it on her vlog and everything, but last night on Facebook she uploaded this picture of herself in her uniform. And I could not be more heartfelt proud of her for the years of service that she devoted to the United States Air Force. You don't know that. You think, wow, Missy Jenn was a warrior. Yes, she was. She's still a warrior today in her battles with MS, but she has quite a stellar background of service to the United States Air Force. And honey, I salute you for that, and I am so proud of your service. Frances MaGinness, who served on submarine duty in the United States Navy, I salute you. The boss, Janet, my best friend, her good hubby's service in the United States Navy aboard a supply ship for 2 years. I salute you too. And there's so many more of you, Amy Clea and people on Facebook. I salute you too for your wonderful and selfless devotion. My family's particular roots, I remember going out to Western Maryland to Emmitsburg and seeing, traveling up to Pennsylvania from there and seeing on my mother's side of the family from people that were buried and involved in the United States Revolutionary War, supporting the cause of freedom with some of the local Pennsylvania militia out there, and then seeing other graveyards for other members of the family that became United States citizens because they overseas in Alsace-Lorraine in France, you were able to sign on in the 1863 and become and get free passage to the United States if you agreed to serve 1 year in the United States Army, the Union side. And of course, 3 of my family members from way back in the 1800s agreed to book passage and came over. 2 of them subsequently died as members of the Pennsylvania Sharpshooters, and one of them at Gettysburg, and another one subsequently down in the Battle of Petersburg, in the Siege of Petersburg in 1864. And to see their graves and stand there and see that at such young ages of 19 and 22 years of age, to have given up your life for a country that you knew nothing about, just the fact that you heard it might be a good place to start a new life, and to have died in the cause of that for the country. The most interesting story revolves around my grandfather was an engineering student at Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore. And in 1917, when Woodrow Wilson declared war on Germany, my grandfather's whole class of 16 men got up, stood up, walked out on the street, formed into a loose formation, and to a person marched down to downtown Baltimore, down Charles Street, all the way to the United States. He had the 5th Regiment Armory there, and they all enlisted in the armed forces on the same day. They all volunteered for duty as a whole unit. And I remember later, when I was young in life, would go to these annual Naval Militia luncheons where all the old warriors would gather, and the ones that served in the Navy. And it was, my grandfather would tell stories about being a signalman in the early days of radio in 1917 on board the USS Massachusetts, and how cocked up and crazy radio was, wireless in those days, to try to have communications and stuff, and how he was treated almost like a minor deity on board, because he understood all the craziness of tubes and radio sets and communications and Morse code at that time. Pretty amazing. And later he went on with the USS Massachusetts to support the White Russian forces in the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia of 1917. So he always had great stories to tell about that. And of course, my father was involved in the Korean War with the United States Army in 1951. So, Dad, I salute you too. So for all of you on this Veterans Day that served, it's a day to remember all of those that served, not those that died, but those that served. And I salute each and every one of you. And if you check the Rosie Murphy channel, you'll see some of the roots of Veterans Day, what we honor today, and you'll see a lot of laying of wreaths and other things. It's just a day to remember. So check out the Rosie Murphy channel, and you'll be able to see some of those roots of Veterans Day and some of the horrors we live with as a result of World War I today. In any event, I salute all of you vets, and thank you very much for your service.